Hello everyone, my name is Kay James and welcome to the third episode in my series of Adobe Illustrator tutorials for beginners. This episode is going to be focused on vector basics and fill and stroke effects of these vectors. In order to make anything in Illustrator, you have to be familiar with vectors and how they work, along with some of the tools used alongside them. To start this off, I'm going to create a very basic square by going to the left panel, clicking this rectangle icon, holding it down, and selecting the rectangle tool here. Now, I can create a square/rectangle by simply dragging the mouse cursor and letting go when I find the right shape. Now, if I am happy that this is uneven, I could also hold down Shift and drag, and this will create a perfect square. Next, we will use one of the most important tools, the Selection tool. This is the first button on the menu on the left and can also be activated by pressing V. When you have this tool activated and you click on a vector, you see that a bounding box appears. Using this bounding box, you can rotate, expand, shrink, or move around the vectors by interacting with the mouse cursor on the edges of the shape. If you want to do things like this without using the Selection tool, you can press S to scale it, and you can use R by pressing R, you can rotate it. Now, like we did when creating a shape, if we hold down Shift, we can snap rotate these things as well, or if we go back to the Scale tool, we can snap scale it. Now, another tool is the Direct Selection tool, which can be found directly under the Selection tool or by pressing A. It's this white cursor underneath the black one. When we click on an object, you will see that it has no bounding box, and instead will have 4 dark squares in each corner. These are anchor points, and are what make up a shape. Anchor points indicate the shape of a vector. You can select this anchor point, and then move the mouse cursor around to change what it looks like. You can also select more than one and interact with You can also select with more than one by clicking and pressing Shift to click on another, and then you can move around a whole side. Now, on another shape, you may not see these anchor points straight away, such as when using the Ellipse tool. In order to get to the Ellipse tool, we will go back over to the Shape icon, click and hold down, and select Ellipse, and draw a simple ellipse. Now, when using the Direct Selection tool on the ellipse, if you just click on it, you will only see the 4 anchor points. And if you want to see more, just by clicking on one, you will see all these lines, which are what allow you to bend the shape in ways that you probably couldn't just by using the 4 tools. Now that we have general navigation covered, we are going to look at fill and stroke. Every vector has a fill and stroke. Fill being the color/pattern that fills the inside of the vector, with the stroke being the outline. Options for this are down in the bottom left of the toolbar. As you can see, I currently have the white fill, indicated by this white box here, with a black stroke indicated by the black hollow square. I can swap these two around by simply clicking the small arrow at the top right of it, and you'll see that the vector coloring changes. The stroke of a vector has many different options, and this can be accessed using the stroke panel. If you have your panels set to Essentials like I do, this will be here. Otherwise, you can always go up to Window and select Stroke right here. This box will give you many options that you can edit the stroke of a vector with. You can change the width of it, up here, the shape of the corners, whether the stroke of the line is on the inside or the outside or directly in the middle. You can use this neat effect that makes the line dashed. You can see that I have now selected the dashed line effect, and I can also edit how far apart the points are and how the lines go around the shape. I can also edit the profile of the stroke by coming down to the very bottom and selecting exactly the kind of line that I wanted to have. You can also use another panel, the Brushes panel. Using Essentials, these should be already here. Otherwise, go to Window and then select Brushes. This will allow you to add more texture to the stroke. As you can see, there are a lot more options that are given. Another useful skill is knowing how to get things in line and perfect. This can be done by using the alignment buttons, rulers, grids, and smart guides. The alignment buttons will be here at the top of your control panel when you have more than one vector selected. Let me quickly just zoom out so that we can see this. The alignment buttons will appear on the top of the control panel when two or more things are selected. It will then show you a couple buttons where you can choose how you want things to be aligned. You can also activate rulers by clicking Ctrl-R or Command-R on Mac, and this will appear on your workspace. But say you want the rulers to be dragged in more into the artboard because you can't really get them to line up properly. And then all you need to do is click on the rulers and drag them into your workspace, and it will create specific lines for you, like so. Now, if you also want to line up these with grids, all you need to do is hit Control'', and as you can see, small grids have shown up where I can then move the lines along to get them exactly how I want them. Now, the final part of this is Smart Guides, which are helpful for lining vectors up. Now, if you go to View and then select down here Smart Guides, you'll see that as I move the shape around, these small green lines appear that tell me whether it's centered with other objects, where it intersects, and other options such as that. The final thing we are going to go over is layers. Your document is made up of several layers so that when you place vectors, some may be in front and others in the back. It is basically where you can organize your document. You can manage your layers in the panel column on the right. If you don't see the panel layers, again, go up to Window and simply select it by finding it and clicking. Now you can see that we only have one layer, but we can always here add more, rename them, and delete them. And if I want to look at all the vectors that are on this layer, all I need to do is click this button down here, and you'll see that all the different shapes are here, where I can also rename and move them around and delete. So, that concludes this video. Yet again, if you didn't catch anything regarding hotkeys, please look in the description. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.